What is going on, guys? This is kind of a little bit of a test because I'm using the OBS program, and I just want to see if we're all good. Are we live? Are we good? Are we streaming? Is everything good right here? Let's see. I want to make sure that we're all good. Are we live? Let's take a look. It's kind of a little bit of a test right now to see how the stream's how's the stream working. If you guys can even hear me, how the audio is, how the picture is. Just want everything to go kind of perfect, I guess. So we'll see if I'm even live. Looks like I am. Am I? Okay, yes, I'm live. Cool. Okay. Can everybody hear me pretty good? Okay. It's weird though, I can't see the I guess it'd be analytics. Can't see if how health the normal stream health or the comments section on here for some reason. So this is kind of a test, I guess you could say. Looks like I'm streaming over here on my I can see it right here. So I'm trying to get into this OBS system. So this is the streaming platform I'm going to be using instead of using the YouTube stream. I like the OBS a lot better. A lot more things you could do. How are we doing, guys? Usually Albert's here. He's usually watching me stream. So Albert, if you there's any hiccups going on, just let me know, man. I'm going to see. I just want to make sure, and if anybody's on listening to me or watching me, please go in the comment section and let me know that everything's good. So this is definitely a stream that we're going to be talking, we're going to be talking about wrestling quite a bit on this channel because I've been back at it. I've just been back, man. I'm back. I haven't watched the of course, new age wrestling, so to speak, with the Roman Reigns, John Cena, Sasha Banks. I'm still still a WWF fan. I know a lot of people, it's so taboo, I guess, to say WWF because it's the World Federation. So I just want to. Okay, I think we're good. I'm seeing that we're good. I have my phone, so if anybody comments, I can see the comments on here. Okay. Think we're good. All right, let's talk. The audio seems like you guys could hear my audio. I was kind of scared that you wouldn't be able to do that. But oh yeah. So I want to give a shout out to Wrestling Bios. I've been freaking binge watching all his videos with I just recently been watching the Stone Cold versus Rock WrestleMania trilogy, which my favorite, if you can't tell, is "Give Me a Hell Yeah, Stone Cold, baby." Steve Austin 316 just said, "I just whooped your ass." So Stone Cold's my favorite. The Rock is right there. He's right there. Undertaker, Kane, Triple H is an amazing. Let me just get rid of that real quick. Okay, so Triple H is like. Going back, I hated him. But as a heel, he was amazing, man. He was freaking phenomenal. But I hated Triple H back in the day. But Stone Cold was my favorite. So I don't know what it was. I found Wrestling Bios and I started, I'm like, I was a huge WWF fan when I was a kid. Huge. Especially, I grew up with the Attitude Era. A lot of people are turned off with this era because I say the world wrestling entertainment is more soft now where the Attitude Era, you didn't know what the hell was going to happen. You had Stone Cold come out with the beer truck, spraying Vince McMahon and this whole clique. One time you had Kurt Angle come with the milk truck and spray everybody, and Stone Cold, which was kind of funny because Stone Cold at that time turned heel, which was, in my opinion, probably one of the biggest mistakes he could ever do. And he even said that, he felt this character was getting stale at that point. But we'll get there in a minute. So, World Wrestling Federation. Now, it used to be called World Wrestling Federation. Now it's called World Wrestling Entertainment, because there actually was somebody already had that name. I think it was like an animal kind of crisis kind of deal going on there. Not necessarily. It was like a rescue kind of operation, and they had that name already. I forgot what the name was, but Vince lost that battle, so he had to change the F to an E. But Attitude Era is synonymous of, WWF, right? So when I came into the game, I mean, I was a kid. I was one of the kids who were like, wrestling's not fake. They really get hurt, and they do. As you grow older, and what's funny is going back and watching all these videos from my boy Wrestling Bios, is he has so much information and so much behind the scenes stuff, but he delivers everything in these videos to let you know whatever content whoever he's talking about, whatever event he's talking about, Royal Rumbles, feuds. Like, I know more behind the scenes than I ever would have thought I would. Like, it just came out of nowhere. I just started binge watching these videos, and I'm just like, holy shit, I didn't know the politics with Hulk Hogan in the background. I always wondered why Stone Cold never fought Hulk Hogan, or Stone Cold never fought Bill Goldberg. The Undertaker being pretty much actually the most well-respected wrestler in the background and making sure shit went down. Like when Shawn Michaels had to fight, was fighting Stone Cold at WrestleMania, and this was the first time Stone Cold held the belt. Undertaker made sure Shawn Michaels dropped that belt, and at the time Shawn Michaels was injured, and he had a long run of battling demons. Drugs, alcohol, whatever, you name it. A lot of these wrestlers end up going that way, like even Perfect Kurt Angle, right? So there's like a lot of crazy deep shit, and we'll get into that too. But let's start it. Let's start the Attitude Era. What is the Attitude Era? The Attitude Era was like a no holds barred. If you see the backdrop on my pick, you have DX, D-Generation X, Raw is War. You had the lightning in the bottle, perfect timing, with Stone Cold becoming one of probably the greatest wrestler to come in. Technically, no, but to bring people in to redefine, like he was like the Michael Jordan of his day. I would say he was Michael Jordan of his day, right? The dude came in here. He had everything. He had the look. He had the swag. He had the entrance music. He had the finisher. He had the attitude. He had mic skills. Like, this guy had everything. And it's kind of crazy to see how it took him a long time to get into, the Stone Cold persona. So I was absolutely a big fan of Stone Cold. And it's crazy to see how he went from being tag team partners with Pillman, and then being the ringmaster and having like this weird ass finishing move, and having hair and then not having hair. Like, the process of that Stone Cold character, it went through a process. And I don't think there was any, the writers never did any favors for Stone Cold. They just didn't. It was really Austin himself, Steve, that really kind of molded that character, the name, getting the finishing move from another wrestler. And then also just that iconic off the top of your head when he won the King of the Ring against Jake the Snake Roberts, and then saying, Austin 3:16 just said, "I just whooped your ass," because at the time Jake was doing a biblical kind of gimmick going on right there. So Stone Cold, man, when he is the face of Attitude Era. The feud between him and Vince McMahon, WCW was owning the ratings on Monday nights until like the perfect storyline with the feud between Vince and Stone Cold. Like it was nuts, man. It was perfect timing, and kudos to Vince too to really strike where the iron was hot. I think I think we're good right now. Okay. Sorry, just making sure everything's good. Like I said, this is a pretty good test right now for the first because I'll be doing more videos like this. But there's Stone Cold, but then you got to go Rocky Marciano, aka The Rock. You know, Rocky, like The Rock was that second. That it was like a twin dragon, right? You had Stone Cold, but then you had The Rock, and The Rock, he came a long way too. I mean, his family was in the wrestling business, but this guy, when rewatching a lot of the Attitude Era matches and seeing a lot of the interviews and seeing a lot of the mic skills and see a lot of the segments, The Rock, to me though, wrestling wise, you could put him literally in front of you can give him any wrestler and he'll make that match better, or he'll entertain you, or just he could work with anybody. That's where I got with The Rock. He could work with anybody, which is a freaking amazing talent, because there's a lot of egos in the room, you know, and there's a lot of people who want to do something differently. I mean, look at Hulk Hogan, who always wanted to win, and if he didn't win, there was a reason why he didn't win. With The Rock, he gave Stone Cold 2 WrestleManias. That's how much of a professional he was. But I never saw a segment or a match with The Rock where I was like disappointed. This dude came in and he brought it. Like when he says team bring it, he really brought it. So he was another element to really catapult Raw and WWF at the time, like, to new levels. Him and Stone Cold, that's all you needed. It was like the Tupac and Biggie of wrestling. Like this is all you need, and you're gonna be making money. You're gonna be soaring new heights, new levels. Like this is all you need. Of course, not disrespecting Undertaker, Mankind, Mick Foley, Kane, even TLC matches like Dudley Boys, Christian and Hardy, who's the third guy? Dudley Boys, TLC. Oh my God, I can't remember. I'm for blanking out for a minute. But all those guys. It's kind of crazy how far Edge came, right? How far Edge, the Hardy Boys, yeah, it's the Hardy Boys, Dudley Boys, yeah. I'm sorry, the Hardy Boys, and the Hardy Boys. You know, Jeff Hardy and Matt Hardy. Like these guys, all these guys really wrote like the matches they did. I think what really made the Attitude Era was a lot of the segments. I mean, you had good old JR and Jerry King Lawler, and you had things like where Stone Cold was supposed to be in a car, and then or Vince McMahon's in the limousine and Stone Cold's in a monster truck and he's going over the limousine, and good old JR is in the background, announcing. He's like, oh my God, Vince McMahon, he's gone, he's dead. Like, you had that kind of stuff in the Attitude Era, which was it's awesome. That's why I loved it. But to me, I always thought wrestling was not fake. And yes, it is. I mean, especially after when I went back a little bit when The Rock was hosting, I think it was WrestleMania 2, and how bad the Undertaker Triple H match was. It was so bad. They tried to incorporate a lot of the mixed martial arts. It was bad though. Watching that, and then watching back in the day when I was a kid watching it, it was so much different. Like you believed those chair shots were real. You believed that the Kurt Angle grabbing your ankle and twisting it was for real. Sharpshooter hurting, some of these moves, yeah, they can hurt, but like, come on, it's you go back and you watch some of these matches, you're like, yeah, that's some acting there, but it wasn't acting sometimes. I mean, the most famous scene is when Mick Foley, Mankind, goes off the Hell in a Cell cage, and Undertaker throws him, and he goes straight to the tables. These are called bumps. These are a lot of these guys will take these bumps. Shane McMahon, a lot of people give him props because he would do a flying elbow from the post onto the announcer's table, and this is a far ass jump, and he is high. I'm afraid of heights, and Shane McMahon, the son who owns all this, the CEO of Vince McMahon. Like, Vince is the boss, right? And his son is doing these bumps. So crazy shit, man. Crazy ass shit. So it's not all fake. Not all fake. Sometimes it's real. Sometimes it's the real deal. So the Attitude Era, right? That's defining the Attitude. You had D-Generation X2 doing a lot of funny segments, a lot of in your face, a lot of controversial stuff. Was like, don't get me wrong, even the Attitude Era wasn't all great material. There was a lot of stupid storylines that they did, a lot of dumb things that didn't make any sense or was too controversial. I remember when Undertaker and Austin were feuding, and Undertaker was with the big reveal of who was screwing everybody over, of course, was Vince, blah blah blah. But like, this is a lot of kind of confusing, unnecessary stuff in the writing room. But when it was good, it was good. It was on point, and WCW saw that. So a lot of people like WCW. My uncles loved WCW. They loved Sting. They loved Goldberg. We always had fighting words of like who would win between a Stone Cold and Bill Goldberg match. We never talked Sting and Undertaker, and I think that's a really cool match too. A real good idea that never came to be. But yeah, they were Nitro. I was Raw. Like, I was with WWF to the end. So I actually did. It was kind of like towards the end of the Attitude Era where I got to go see a No Way Out, and I got to go see Stone Cold versus Triple H in like this triple threat match where it was a regular match in the beginning. And I think you have to win 2 out of the 3 matches to win the whole thing. A regular match in the beginning. Then I think it was a first blood match and a second match. And then it was actually the Hell in a Cell in the third one. And of course it was going to go all the way to Hell in a Cell. They tied it one apiece. Stone Cold ended up losing that match. But this is how brutal the Attitude Era was. Like, you had Triple H's main weapon was the sledgehammer. The freaking sledgehammer, man. Cactus Jack versus Triple H in 2000. Oh my God, the thumbtacks, TLC matches. But that particular match between Triple H and Stone Cold, you had Hell in a Cell. You had like a match called First Blood, or is basically first to whoever bleeds first loses. That's crazy. Like, there's a lot of shit that went down in WWF. But that, I remember going, it was in Vegas, and I remember going to Vegas, and I thought this match was amazing. I hated that Stone Cold lost. I hated it. But then when he did lose, he actually stunned Triple H, and then he walked down the entranceway, and he gives you like this bird, and great entertainment. Great, fantastic. Like, if you've never seen a WWE, I believe the WWE events are still entertaining, because just being there, it reminded me a lot of like a UFC fight. Just a little bit more. I think the wrestling fans are more energetic and absolutely more into what they're watching and loyal. I mean, I don't want to rub everybody the wrong way. Like, UFC has their fans, mixed martial artists has their fans, but when it comes to wrestling, it's broader audience, right? You got kids involved, and not necessarily UFC's not getting kids involved. I mean, you look at all these Paragons and, Pitt, but like wrestling, especially when growing up in the Attitude Era and growing up with wrestling, like it was a topic you had to talk about, just like Dragon Ball Z, next episode. Like, you were talking about wrestling. Everybody was talking about wrestling. My family was buying pay-per-views, and we were sitting down watching these matches. And cool thing is, some of the matches didn't hit. Thinking back at it, I could tell that my parents were like, But when we went to No Way Out, and we were there, and we were live, and we were like, the fans were passionate. It really felt like a Raider tailgate kind of game. But but everybody like was kind of there. They had their guy, but they were there just to be entertained. They were there to have fun. It was so much fun. So much. You had the merchandise in the front. Like, I enjoyed the hell out of everything. I enjoyed everything about that pay-per-view. I remember at that time, Undertaker was doing the American Badass thing. The chopper was freak. I remember the chopper being so loud in the stadium, even though fans are screaming their heads off. The fireworks in the beginning, like it was a show. It was an entertaining damn show. All right, let's see. I'm hoping this is working here. Sorry guys, I really just want to make sure that everything's good on this, because I'm going to be using this platform for other videos and stuff. Well, there's one like, so somebody's watching, right? But I can't see the comments. If you guys are going to want to comment and stuff. I just want to make sure this is, if it's running smooth. You know, I think it's kind of lagging a little bit. I think I can see, because I'm definitely far ahead than when I'm watching live, but I don't know if that's just how it goes and stuff. I'll look back at it and see how it goes. This is kind of a test anyway. So yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit of the Attitude Era, and then we'll dive into more videos later on. I just want to talk a little bit and test this out, see how the streaming goes. It's really crazy how the OBS software works. Super cool that I can get backgrounds and minimize my camera. Like, I might do a tutorial because I'm learning a lot, and I'm like, people need to know about this, you know. But going back to the Attitude Era, and that live event was just absolutely amazing. And then also, while we're at Vegas, there was two book signings. There was Chris Jericho's autobiography, and there was actually China's autobiography, and they were both in separate. There was one mall with China, and the other mall was with Chris Jericho. So I chose China. I read her book. Chris Jericho at the time, I didn't really appreciate. I should have appreciated it more, because Chris Jericho is a freaking, like, I think I was pissed because he won 2 belts in one night against, two of my favorites, The Rock and Stone Cold. And it really rubbed me the wrong way, because, like, who's this guy to come in here cocky and just win against, I thought the greatest wrestlers of all time. But thinking back at it and learning more of Chris Jericho's story and seeing his matches, man, the dude was one of a kind. He was short. The problem that Vince didn't like was that Chris Jericho was short. That's why you see him in kind of like more of a the boots he was wearing. Got him a couple more inches. But you look at the guy's work, the body of work, and you watch him wrestle. He was great, especially when he was going. I know it's taboo, but when he's going against Chris Benoit, it's a terrible situation. Absolutely ruined. Just that's it. Chris Benoit has been erased from the WWE network. But there was matches back in the day with Chris Benoit that were with him and Chris Jericho were phenomenal. With the body of work and stuff. But Chris Jericho, I mean, he was another guy where it wasn't necessarily The Rock, because The Rock you wanted to root for, or even when he was, I think back in the day when he first started up and he was a heel, it didn't matter if he was a heel or if he was a baby face. You still rooted for The Rock either way. You loved what he was bringing to the table. Chris Jericho's mic skills were fantastic. His wrestling ability, though, was way more. So I think Chris Jericho doesn't get enough recognition of bringing something more to the table, because we were really full head of steam in the Attitude Era, and then we're going into the 2000s, and everybody was like, Y2K, and then I remember watching Monday Night Raw and Y2J. What the fuck is Y2J? And he saw this countdown. That was Chris Jericho's brilliant idea. And it's a brilliant idea that it became the most iconic and memorable thing that happened in the Attitude Era, because when that countdown stopped, and then you saw Jericho come out, and you're like, who the fuck is this guy? True wrestling fans who watched all the different wrestling medias came from WCW, right? Yeah, I think WCW. At the time, WCW. And then he came to the WWF, and then the perfect stars lined up. He's doing mic work with The Rock, which became one of the most iconic things. And then Chris Jericho didn't like that first introduction, because he makes this funny expressions and stuff, and it's really cartoony. And I see where I get it, but it worked. It worked for me. So Chris Jericho, a wrestler that really brought something to the table in Attitude era too. So it wasn't just Stone Cold and The Rock. I mean, then you had The Undertaker, who's been there for years, right? And The Undertaker, the thing I really remember was the feuds with The Undertaker and Stone Cold, the American Badass gimmick, especially learning the full story on what happened with the Undertaker and how he needed to take time off. Like, these guys need to take time off at some point, right? To hang out with their kids, to rest their body, surgeries, tons of surgeries. Look at Mick Foley. You read his biography, you hear a podcast with him and Stone Cold. He's had so many surgeries. You don't get any more matches from Stone Cold because of injuries. So when people say it's fake, yes, in the sense of the actual kind of wrestling that they're doing, yes. But when these guys are taking bumps and they're going through stuff, like, that's real stuff, man. Like, they're really hitting this mat, and this mat's not a whoop. This mat's like not a freaking memory foam kind of mat. It's hard. So your back, after so many years, your back's gonna just, in your knees, and it's all gonna go down to hell. Listening to Mick Foley and Stone Cold's podcast, and him talking about back in the days, and Stone Cold asking him, like, how many years did you think you were gonna have with the wrestling like this? He's like, I thought I was gonna wrestle until at least 26. I got until 26, and he went longer than that, and he tried to go longer than that. He had a perfect retirement. He had a perfect end all of his career in year 2000 against Triple H, but he ended up going over to, was it ECW, I think, for a little bit or something like that, and he needed the money. The guys need the money. You think they're wealthy as hell, but these guys are kind of like UFC fighters, where they're not getting paid as you think they would. It's all about the merchandise, and Stone Cold had hopefully had the merchandise rights. The Rock, look at his merchandise right now. You see it at sports, the Brahma Bull and all that stuff, So, yeah, man, like, these guys. So I remember the Undertaker. He had to take some time off. But I remember the feud he had with Kane. I love the feuds with him and Kane, his younger brother. Kane was awesome too. Kane really got shattered on, though. Like, he never really won. He won. I remember one Monday Night Raw. He won the WWF Championship. I was tripping out on. I was like, holy shit, what the hell? But he never had the They never thought that Kane was gonna be the guy that's gonna have this belt for a long time, or win multiple times. He was never the Hunter Hearst Helmsley, right? Because Kane was a mask. He didn't talk too much. Like, you need charisma. You need somebody on mic. You had and Hunter could do it. Stone, Rock, even Mick Foley could do it. Even though Mick Foley never had a lot of championships in his name, I remember him losing a lot of matches. But the Rock and Sock connection, again, fantastic. They really evolved throughout the years. Like, when they first started with the feud between Stone Cold and Vince. They really evolved story-wise and bringing more to the table. Like, the bigger they got, and the more they were destroying WCW in ratings, the more Vince's ego got, and the more where he wanted just to make things bigger. And the way to make things bigger, he introduced SmackDown too. And SmackDown was great. SmackDown was entertaining. It was never going to be Raw. It was because Raw was the day after a main event or a pay-per-view, especially after a WrestleMania. People wanted to see the lingering effects, the feuds, what's next kind of deal going on. And then you had SmackDown. I believe SmackDown was on Thursday nights, but SmackDown was, you still had a lot of the roster going back and forth until they had the invasion, right, where WCW got bought out. But when I think about SmackDown, I think about I know Kurt Angle was probably in the game a little bit earlier, but I remember Kurt Angle being in the game, and he really associates with SmackDown. A lot of his memorable stuff comes from SmackDown. And Kurt Angle, before, hated the guy. The guy was squeaky clean, didn't like I got a comment. Didn't like didn't like. Oh, what's up, Dominator? Hey, Dominator, if you can let me know how the stream's going, if it's going smooth. I think while I'm recording this, it's a little laggy, but just let me know how it goes. Just let me know how the stream is, if it's smooth, and then you can hear me good and see me good, and it's not lagging on you or anything like that. Okay? Because it's kind of a test. I'm testing out this new format. Because before I did the YouTube live, just easy. But you can't do that much, right? You can't have the background. You can't have an intro. You just really can't do anything with it. And I like this. I like having my scenes, my clips. I could also present stuff. I could actually do live reaction videos finally, So I like this. I like this a lot. So just let me know, Dominator, if everything's good. So going back to, what was it? Kurt Angle. So Kurt Angle, I hated the guy, right? The guy came in here. He was goofball. He was always winning. He had this anger issue. But watching videos now and really getting to know his story, and he did I had his biography too, and just really seeing where he was and what he is now, and the struggles, and what is insane is a lot of these writers will actually incorporate a lot of these real life events that these wrestlers go through, and they just incorporate it. The biggest one was Matt Hardy. Was dating Lita at the time, and then Edge was sleeping with Lita, and they incorporated this. Insane. It's insane. Kurt Angle actually had a similar situation. He divorced his wife, and his wife went to Jeff Jarrett, and they actually incorporated that. Not in WWF, I believe they incorporated in ECW, I believe. I think he was in ECW. But Kurt Angle, oh man, just now that I'm older and looking back at some of the wrestlers and so looking back some of their, just the stuff they did, dude, Kurt Angle was great. He was great, guys. That dude was legit. If you don't believe me, why don't you watch the Kurt Angle versus Shawn Michaels match? Holy shit. Kurt Angle was he was a wrestler. This dude, you paired him with Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit, Rey Mysterio, whoever these high flyers, he'll match that. Back in the day, now he can't because, like I said, the lingering effects. But Kurt Angle was athletic, man. I always remembered him and The Rock feuding. I always thought that was great. He's a comedic. His mic skills are freaking awesome. His segments are actually really good. He's a funny guy. He's like The Rock. He elevates a segment or a material. He elevates it. Especially he was like the whole package as well. He was just different. He was Stone Cold had this mean, no nonsense, trust nobody. But Kurt Angle was, I'm entitled to everything, but I'm here to prove it. And what's just funny is when he said all this stuff, when he spoke truth when he was talking, but it was so comical in a way. But he was always right. But us, the fans, we still hated him. I always remember his song, his theme song when he come out and everybody go, "You suck. You suck." It was so funny. So funny. So Kurt Angle was another guy back in the Attitude Era, which is so the Attitude Era really came along, man. I mean, you had SmackDown too, and Kurt Angle I think he shined a lot on SmackDown. I always thought that was The Rock's thing, but The Rock, not necessarily. I think a lot of other wrestlers kind of took that away. The Rock was perfect at Raw. Stone Cold, of course. So you had all these giants, man. You had all these legends, bro. Just pure entertainment. It's always so fun to watch. And then you ask yourself, where did it all go? How did it all go downhill, And how it all went downhill is they got older. They got older. The injuries caught up. They couldn't do it anymore. Stone Cold, so heartbreaking because I've always wanted one more match between him and The Rock because these were the two pillars, right? These were the two gods of wrestling. These were the two guys who when they were going against each other in a match, but when it was especially a WrestleMania match, you sat your ass down and you watched because they were freaking like it, the match itself. I want to say the matches they've been in is the greatest thing of all time I've seen. But the electricity, the showmanship, the just actual build up. I think the WrestleMania, their second WrestleMania they fought, their promo with Limp Bizkit is considered like one of the greatest promos of all time in any sport. It was that hype, man. It was that hype. I remember that WrestleMania, and that's when the Stone Cold turned heel. That's when he had the Invasion arc. I think what really killed it was the Invasion arc. When they bought out WCW, and you had all these guys coming from there, and then you got all these guys from ECW, and I think that's what kind of killed it. I think there was it's too much, and if you're gonna grab all, it's kind of like the Marvel universe, right? And if you're gonna grab all these players and let a lot of people know from, because they're not just watching WWF, they're watching they were watching WCW, and WCW had some cats that, like, you had the NWO, right? D-Generation X, yeah, we had D-Generation X, but who'd they get that? Where did that come from? It came from NWO first, New World Order, Scott Hall, Kevin Nash. So you got these guys coming in. You got not necessarily Bill Goldberg just yet, but that took some time. But the Invasion happened, and you're like, oh shit, it's gonna be WWF versus WCW. Like, the storyline was there, but I think they really dropped the ball on the storyline. Once you really got into the storyline, it was a mess. It was so messy. They really needed a Kevin Feige in that son of a bitch, right? Because these wrestlers were like superheroes. These wrestlers were villains, and the way they handled it all, it was confusing. It was a mess. There was matchups that should have happened, never happened. There was matches that did happen that was terrible. You had Stone Cold versus Scott Hall at WrestleMania, made no sense. Even though they wanted him to wrestle Hulk Hogan, but he refused. And I think he refused because in my opinion, Hulk Hogan and his politics, Hulk Hogan probably said, "No way, man. You're not gonna pin me. I'm not gonna go out like that." There was a lot of shit. You listen to the Stone Cold, and since Stone Cold's out of the business, he's all cool with everybody. But at that time, I think there was a lot of egos and a lot of flares going on, But you had that Invasion angle, and but the problem was you had Stone Cold as a heel. Never should have happened. If it were to happen, it should have happened quickly. Stone Cold being heel, people did not want to see that shit. They wanted to see. I know it was. I feel for Austin. I feel like, yeah, he didn't. He felt like this character was getting stale. I get that, but when I saw that WrestleMania and I saw him going to Vince and just like fingering him, grab me the chair, and then he bashes The Rock and he just absolutely kills The Rock in the ring. That was heartbreaking, man. Like, we all still cheered. I mean, especially that audience there, because it was in his hometown, Austin, Texas. But boy, were we pissed. We're like, what is going on? Why is this happening? That's his arch nemesis, McMahon, and that kind of goes out the window, right? That kind of goes out, even though they go back to it. But I think the heel turn is what kind of killed it. The Invasion, and then the fact that The Rock was about to hit the movie scene. He was doing the Scorpion King. There was a lot of light at the end of that tunnel. He was really absolutely he was starting right there. And I remember the Scorpion, they had the behind the scenes, like WWE would follow. They supported The Rock at that time. I mean, Hulk Hogan did movies. Like, a lot of these wrestlers, if they have opportunities, they're going to take it, right? Stone Cold never was a big movie star, but his podcast is huge. He's a well-known figure. Like, this guy is doing his own thing as well. And of course, he's considered probably the guy who really elevated wrestling. But the end was near at that point. The Invasion happened, and it's kind of crazy because it went on a little bit, right? It went on a little bit longer, but the end was kind of near. You could feel it. You could feel that a lot of these old timers were not as they used to be. Storylines were kind of getting played out. Storylines were super confusing. The wrestlers you did want to see were just not. They weren't set up right, or honestly, you just didn't see them as much anymore. You know, Undertaker was getting older. Rock was doing his thing. Stone Cold was battling in 2002 year. He's battling a lot of demons. His wife, his divorce from in real life with Deborah, his assault. He beat Deborah. He did a lot. So there's a lot. I mean, there's a shitload of crazy stuff when you get older and you realize like, oh man, these guys are, you know, they're real people, and they do some despicable acts, but they're human. And you know, we love Stone Cold, but then it's kind of like, damn, dude, you really beat Deborah, you know? And then you also had Chris Benoit situation. Kurt Angle was popping pills. Like, a lot of these guys were using steroids. Like, it was yeah. You learn a lot. You learn a lot when you get older. So, man, it really brings that, you know, when you idolize somebody, you got to kind of take it down a notch. You got to realize they're humans, that they do shit like this, right? They slip up like that. So Stone Cold was able to recover quickly, but at that time in the year 2002, he was gone, man. He actually dipped for a while. He was supposed to headline some matches, and he just dipped. He did not like where the creative team were taking his character. And honestly, when I was watching all this stuff, like, I was like, dude, yeah, like, they were like, Scott Hall, really? You're gonna have him? What? No disrespect to Scott Hall, but that's not a matchup where I'm just like clamoring for, you know? And it was an okay matchup anyway. And then just his feuds, and just you still had a stacked roster, and the way they just did him dirty, man. Why didn't you get the post notification? Why does a TV show called Dark Side of the Ring? I highly recommend some of those episodes. Is that 11-2 already? I don't know. You might not got the notification because I'm using a different software. I'm using the OBS. Next time I'll actually put a scheduled podcast so you guys could see it on my channel. And so like Mayans MC, I don't know, because I think I'll be able to watch Mayans episode earlier than a lot of other people because of the coastal time and stuff. So I'll put like, okay, I'm going live like at 8 p.m. Pacific Central, you know, something like that. That way you'll be notified. But I think because I'm not using their YouTube live stream, it doesn't notify my my subscribers. So it's a test, Albert. Just, you know, see how this all works. This is kind of, I used OBS a long time ago, but I didn't know there was a lot of features like this. So I'm really just kind of testing it out, practicing, and just kind of shooting the shit a little bit. And then we will get into more wrestling videos in the future, but I'll be using this format for a lot of my other videos too. I want to see how this went because I want to use it for my live reaction of, I believe, for the Tenchi Muyo series. But going back to your Dark Side of the Ring, yeah, I know that series. I watched it. I don't have Vice, but I watched it on YouTube, and I watched the Chris Benoit one. That was a trip. That was a trip. Especially with the death of Eddie Guerrero. I saw another one too. I forgot which one it was, but that one is definitely. I love that aspect of it because these guys go through a shitload of stuff. These guys are working. It's crazy the way that organization is run. The contracts that are done, you have to really be smart with your wits. Some of these cats that come in here and they just want to, they're happy to be there, they'll get fucked over. You really got to look at those contracts that the WWE at this point gives you. You got to see a lot of disgruntled employees throughout the years. Stone Cold, the biggest face of WWF, walked out, and it took Jim Ross to get him and McMahon to be in the same room, and just hammer it out. I never heard anything bad with The Rock. I never heard anything that, like, because it seems like The Rock really is that lifer, you know. But shit that these guys go through, man, it's insane. Like Mick Foley, he's not the richest guy in the world. You know, he said he had savings. Well, where's his income now is kind of like going around and telling stories, or still trying to find work in the wrestling organization. The wrestling organization is kind of like they do the family thing where, like, hey, you need help, I'll find you a spot somewhere, but it's still a lot of work. You know, after I feel like these guys are kind of like football players, but they're like the linemen. You know, constantly getting their head bashed. But there's really no kind of, unless you're a big name like The Rock or Stone Cold, you can see him say Shawn Michaels, Hulk Hogan, you're not going to get anything in return down the long way, you know, down the long road. So, the dark side of the ring. I did see the Chris Benoit one, and that was insane. Okay, so I'm getting a little tired here, so we're going to finish this off because I wanted to test, like I said, I wanted to test it out. I want to see how this format works. But let's finish it off with and I'll be talking about more Attitude Era. I think I'm going to be talking about more of, when I do this again, it'll be more of matches. So it'll be like Stone Cold versus The Rock. But I think I'm going to start it off with Stone Cold versus Triple H because the next video will be Stone Cold versus Triple H because Attitude Era, Stone Cold versus Triple H was great. Like those two, a lot of people say, you know, because of the relationship that Hunter has with Stephanie Vince. I mean, he married Stephanie. But if you look at Triple H's body of work, if you look at the wrestler, if you look at the game, you know what? I actually like his theme song more than I like any other wrestlers. When you heard the time to play the game, like that shit was great, man. That shit was great. I love Stone Cold's Shatter of the Glass. I love The Rock's because you knew The Rock was coming in the building. Finally, great mic skills there. But with the Triple H, man, like when that theme hit, like it just had that nice little fucking nice. That represented the Attitude Era, you know, that represented we about to go to war kind of thing. And he did. He went to war with Cactus Jack. He went to war with Shawn Michaels, Undertaker. But the one, The Rock. But the one I really remember is Triple H and Stone Cold. I thought Triple H and Stone Cold had fantastic chemistry, and they really brought something to the table when those two were going against each other. Yeah, I know. Triple H won too many times, in my opinion. I gotta say, like I said, when I went to No Way Out and he beat Stone Cold in that triple kind of threat match, like that was a stinger right there. Get it? No, I don't think Sting actually won a match in WWE because he got injured, which a lot of people were. He was. Who did he go against? He was booked. Maybe he did win. I don't know. I can't remember. He had a match at WrestleMania. He had a match against Triple H. He had a match against. That was his debut. Yeah, that was his first debut. His first match in the WWE. A lot of people couldn't believe that Sting came over because Sting was so loyal to WCW. You know, he was the pioneer. Him and Rick. So the shame is, after that match, I think he got injured, and that ended his career. So nobody got the match that everybody wanted, was Sting versus Undertaker at WrestleMania. It was, if you want to blame a lot of the matches that never came to be, I mean, with Stone Cold and Hulk Hogan, that's kind of their issue, right? But with Sting and Undertaker at WrestleMania, which everybody was clamoring for, everybody wanted, you got to put the blame on Vince. Vince, his big ass ego, And I honestly thought he'd be like, oh, we could do Undertaker and Sting, later down the road. We just got Sting. We signed him. We'll do it down the road. And then Sting got injured. And Sting at that time was an old man. I think Sting is making a little bit of a comeback. I don't know what's going on nowadays, but at that time, the on the table, don't even overthink it. Just put Sting versus Undertaker at WrestleMania. And the reason Sting lost that match with Triple H is just fucking ego of Vince. That was a slap to a lot of the WCW fans' face. He said, the one person you thought wasn't going to come over, I got him over. That was Sting. And what does he have him do for his first match in the WWE? He has him lose to Triple H. And like I said, I love Triple H, man. I think he deserves everything that he got. I don't have the Vince and Stephanie thing over his head because the guy is a star. Look at his body of work. He really commands the ring. He was toe to toe. If he didn't have what it took, the rivalries he had, the matches he's had, it would have never worked, right? You would never have classic matches with Mick, Stone, Rock, Undertaker, and he would have shied away. Like he carried himself. He saw the big boys and he said, I wanted to be part of that. And he carried himself. And he was. And he's one of the faces of the Attitude Era and of one of the greater wrestlers that brought where wrestling was at that point, at the highest, at the peak. But when you have Vince and you have Sting and Sting's lore, Sting just, everybody loves Sting. I wasn't a WCW fan, but I even thought Sting was fucking cool. The crow look, he had the Joker thing going on at one point. Like Sting, you knew who Sting was. There was about 4 people you knew from. There was a handful of people you knew from WCW, even if you didn't watch WCW. You knew about NWO. You knew that Hulk Hogan was over there. You knew Scott Hall, Kevin Nash. You knew Ric Flair. You knew Sting. You knew Goldberg. Like, you knew a handful of guys that were over there. So the Vince really fucking just absolutely did not do the right thing on that one. That's the other thing, right? This is how the Attitude Era kind of dies, is because the writing team is not there. There's not even a team anymore, honestly. And but I give Vince credit. A lot of the process that went through a lot of the Attitude Era was from Vince too. Was from Vince. When Vince had a great idea, he had a great idea. But it's kind of like Al Davis from the Raiders, right? At some point, he had to let that team go, but he passed. He passed while he still was doing drafts and all that stuff. At some point, you just can't do it no more, and you just got to hand the ball over. So Vince, he's doing that with Triple H. I know Shane's doing. I think he's double dipping over there in the other wrestling things going on and stuff. But yeah, the travesty of Sting and him getting injured, because these guys are old men, man. It only takes one bout. Stone Cold is just the best example. The dude was in the hospital before his last match, and his last match was at WrestleMania. WrestleMania against The Rock. Fucking legend. That is a legendary tale right there. He was in the hospital before, and he was dehydrated. I think he said he had the quakes, or he was not there. He was absolutely not there. The doctor even said, dude, you cannot wrestle tomorrow night. And he's like, I got to do a job. Can't tell me what to do. So he got all the fluids he can try to get, and he wrestled against The Rock. And you know what? That match is actually really good. It's actually good for all that circumstance. It's not the greatest thing in the world, but to really end, The Rock really kind of carries that match. But man, they're both legends. And to him to go out like that against The Rock, losing to The Rock, I'm okay with that. I'm okay, because The Rock, has not won a WrestleMania with Stone Cold, but To go out like that. Oh man. Wow. But the Sting to go out like that. Oh man. Crazy shit, man. Let's go to the comments real quick. Oh yeah, Booker T. I'm sorry. Yeah, Booker T. You know, Booker T. though was not like, to me, wasn't. He was great. I had his action figure and stuff, but I just didn't think he was like with these big boys. You know. Well, you know, he had to spin a Rooney. He was a fun character. To me, he was in the level of Kurt Angle, which wouldn't even place Kurt Angle with Rock or Stone Cold. But Kurt Angle is so great, though. They're right there, man. There was a lot. I mean, I don't even want to replace them because all these guys were great. These guys really carried wrestling for a while. Now he's on the AEW teaming up with Darby Allin. I just had the first match with them. It was a cinematic match, so pre-record. Oh, okay. You know, it's kind of. I remember when the COVID hit too. A lot of people were pissed at Vince. Because these wrestlers were like getting COVID left and right. Like Vince, at one time, Vince went to Saudi Arabia and did is it Saudi Arabia? Or was it Afghanistan? Forgot. He went somewhere and he left his wrestlers hanging. Now he's. I was at the WrestleMania. Were you? Albert, were you at WrestleMania with Sting versus Triple H? Dude, comment. Let me know. How was that? Like, what was your favorite match that night? And like, I went to the No Way Out in Vegas. I forgot what year it was. Yeah, and some of the matches I can't remember. I went back and looked at the video, and I think the guy gave it like a 7.5 out of 10. But there's some good matches on there. But man, the atmosphere was fantastic. So I can only imagine a WrestleMania. People are probably going nuts, right? So the biggest pop that a lot of the wrestlers, the biggest pops I've seen that wrestlers got, of course, was Stone Cold, The Rock. It was Mankind when he won the championship on Raw, and that was even Stone Cold's part too. The biggest chant too was Kurt Angle. Like I said, you suck. You suck. The American Badass, The Undertaker. That was a pretty big pop when I was there. What else was Shawn Michaels got a big pop, and then also Bret Hart always got a big pop, especially when he was at Toronto. It's a shame that Bret Hart should have been bigger than life too. It kind of feels like he doesn't get talked enough, even though a lot of people do talk about him. Excuse me. He got injured too. He got injured in WCW, and he was that was it, man. That was it. Saudi Arabia a few years back. Yep. Yeah, he left everybody fucking there, man. But that's not. So, okay, I'll get into that real quick. Yeah, and the WrestleMania was at the 49ers Stadium. Was it at, what, really? Was it Santa Clarita, right? Santa Clara? Santa Clara? Because the 49ers are not in San Francisco. Best match, main event, Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins is making a huge splash right now, I think. I'm hearing a lot of talk with him. Seth Rollins. The briefcase match. I feel like a lot of people don't like Roman Reigns. He seems very generic to me. He seems like he seems like, what's his name? Oh my God. Jason Momoa. Brock Lesnar. I hate Brock Lesnar. The ladder match was crazy too. I think Daniel Bryan won that one. Also, Randy hit the craziest RKO. Yeah, I do like the RKO finisher though. Freaking RKO is pretty dope. But if you ever seen Diamond Dallas Page, he does this like, go to YouTube and put Diamond Dallas Page craziest. Was it Diamond Cutter? Whew. Holy shit! This boy had like the guy up, and he just twirls him and does a diamond, like it's an insane diamond cutter. So Diamond Dallas Page, I do was dope too. I'm surprised he never went anywhere in the WWE. They gave him a stupid ass gimmick. Like he was like a maniac or an insane person basically. People hated him in the face, but they like him more now that he's heel and Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman, man, I don't think Vince likes Paul Heyman a lot. Well, nobody likes was it Bischoff too. So I'll say so Brock Lesnar, right? So I absolutely hate Brock Lesnar. I didn't like him in the UFC, and I don't like him in WWE. I was super happy when he got his ass kicked in UFC against Cain Velasquez. I thought he robbed Randy Couture. If you watch that bout, you'll see him hit him right behind the head, and that's when Randy goes down. But when it comes to Brock Lesnar, I will give him mad props, mad absolute props. So the WrestleMania between him and Undertaker, the one that ended the streak, which a lot of people were baffled. Why Brock Lesnar? And I, knowing the explanation on why, I still was like, no. And I heard the Stone Cold, when Stone Cold was podcasting with Vince, he asked him that, like, you know, why'd you do that? And Vince like, well, at the time, you know, I thought that was the right call. I feel like it was, you know, he had to get back. All these years, he was ready to get back to the company. Stupid. It was a stupid ass answer, very stupid. Sometimes Vince could be just a moron, right? But he's a smart ass guy, man. I mean, I'm all for Vince's story though, like how his dad had it. He didn't want Vince to be, you know, anywhere near the wrestling business, but Vince is a smart son of a bitch. He's a real asshole, and he's not shy away to say he's an asshole. But that was a bad move. That was a bad way for the Undertaker to lose the streak at WrestleMania. That was the wrong opponent in my opinion. But I will give Brock Lesnar so much credit because that was the WrestleMania, I believe, Albert, where so Undertaker is concussed. Think the last 15 minutes of that match, he does some. I've watched the video. Like I said, go to Wrestling Bios. Oh, so great. He gets concussed, right? And you clearly see that something's fucking off and wrong. And what's crazy is the Undertaker actually said when he looks back at the match, he was like an autopilot, right? He's been doing it for so long that he was able to finish. I don't know how the fuck he was able to do it, but he was able to finish that match. But there's one move where he goes to the turnbuckle, and then he goes on the top rope, and he walks on the top rope while he has his opponent's arm, and then he goes down with the elbow on the arm. Fucking no, Brock, and I think the ref was like, "Don't do that shit." Like they knew that he was out of it. Like he should not be doing that. And Brock could see him really wobbling, so he kind of throws him in, and then he does a move that made sure that Undertaker doesn't damage himself even more. So I would give Brock so much props for that because he was a true professional. He knew his opponent. He knew this guy was injured, and he wanted to make sure he didn't injure himself, and he wanted to get this match over with as soon as possible. Because you kind of, you know, the only time I've seen a match where it just like before it even began, where it was like, well, honestly, like yeah, and then he never began. I think the craziest fucking scene of, if we're going to Attitude Era, is remembering Owen Hart, man. And that was another one, the Dark Side of the Ring, Albert. That's right. It was Owen Hart. And fucking when Owen Hart, and I hated his stupid gimmick, that was like the American Eagle or something like that. I don't know why he just didn't stick with Owen Hart. But God, man, Owen Hart and falling from the Raptors, you know, oh man, that was, I remember that pay-per-view. I literally watched so many damn pay-per-views of WWF and seeing that. And I don't remember the fall. Right, I don't remember, you know, the actual, because they have footage of boom, but what's crazy is the Dark Side of the Ring, which I didn't really think about, and you know, I finally kind of realized, like, dude, they carried on with the event, right? And there's still blood stains on the mat, But Vince said, "Let the show go on." Holy shit, man! End the show. Somebody just died, and not only it's Owen Hart, man. The Hart family really gets screwed over in the WWF, even though they're the most like probably they are the equivalent of a Jackson 5 kind of wrestling family. You know, they're the best. They're the best in the business. They're the Hoist Gracie of the business. They really got fucked over. Brett got fucked over. We all know about the screw job, the Monorail screw job. Owen dies, and then I was glad to see that his widow, his wife, really fucking. I agree. You know, take all. You don't see Owen Hart in games, merchandise. She's like, nah, fuck that. Nah. It was a bad situation. That was, you know, other than the Chris Benoit, if I had to tell you to start somewhere, I would tell you to start Owen Hart's story. Because that shit was really dark, man. That shit's really dark. So, things, I mean, obviously something's going to happen after so many years, but there's negligence, right? There's so much negligence in wrestling sometimes. But kudos to Brock, man. Brock, that could have been a horrible, way more horrible situation. But Brock really did solid there. So I'll definitely give him that. What's up, Albert? I could see cool. I think I'm gonna have to charge my phone a lot because I could see. All right, there's a little bit of a lag between like. I think it's a little off, but I think the stream is. Albert, the stream's good, right? Like you can hear me, you can see me. Like it's all good, right? Because it's like I said, this is a test. I'm testing this shit out while talking. So let me know on that, but I'm gonna read your comments right now. Santa Clara, yep, 2015. Damn, so it doesn't seem so long ago, but you know. DDP had his last match in AEW back when they first started up. Pretty cool. Something about DDP though. Oh my god, this guy is cool as fuck, man. Like he helps struggling wrestlers like Jake the Snake Roberts so bad, drunk all the time, even when he was scheduled for matches. I'm talking about after the years of WWF. This guy was a real mess, and I thought he was gonna die. And then DDP helped him out, and Jake changed his life. I think he was able to he had some health issues. He was able to get that resolved a little bit. And then another one was Scott Hall. Scott Hall was so bad and down, and DDP, man. DDP came in like he's pretty much like the savior of these wrestlers because a lot of these wrestlers go downhill. And they need somebody to pick them up. And DDP's like if you don't know those stories, you gotta look him up, man. He helps a lot of these wrestlers that are just addicted and just in a really pits of despair, and he really brings them up. So DDP's really awesome, man. That was WrestleMania 30. Undertaker was concussed near the beginning. He says that the last thing he remembers of that night was like eating lunch or something. Dude, I should just have you on the stream. I'm still have to test that out too to try to get a special guest or try to get a guest on this OBS. But dude, Albert, you know you're wrestling. We might have to collab on one of these nights if you're not working. When you're not working, right? And when I figure out how to bring, I think I could use Skype on this OBS and bring them in for. It's complicated. I'm working on it. All right. That was Joe Rogan podcast had Undertaker on there for a few months ago. It was a good watch. Stone Cold had, of course, Undertaker as well. Yeah, when Owen Hart died, the show went on. Yeah, it's fucking crazy. Stream's good, looks good, and sounds good. Good, because this is the format we're gonna be using all the time. Jake the Snake is only alive right now because of DDP and is it a yoga program? Yeah, dude, DDP really saved some lives there, but Undertaker, man, that was a scary one. And then so there's a lot, and then of course the famous Stone Cold getting pile drive by Owen Hart. And I was always wondering, like, you know, when I saw like recaps on that, and you know what happened afterwards. Did Owen apologize? You know, was Stone Cold like Did he go try to kill this guy? And it's kind of a strange kind of Owen felt really bad about the situation, and Stone Cold was in a hospital, but he never gave him kind of a call. He never saw him in a hospital. So this is a strange situation. It kind of got brushed over. They never really kind of addressed it. There was still the elephant in the room. And I think, yeah, it's just so strange, especially with Owen Hart, and a lot of people talk so highly about him that he would probably, I think that's I think at that point, for some reason, it just never, the conversation, it was never a Vince and Stone Cold thing where Jim Ross brought them both together and kind of hash it out. That never happened. And it's also more strange because after Owen Hart died, in the next night on Raw, I believe, or was it the day after the funeral, they did a tribute to Owen Hart, and Stone Cold was the last one out of the when the program ended. He was in the ring, and they had an Owen Hart picture, and he had a beer and toasted to Owen. So it's strange, right? It's a strange world, this wrestling world, behind the scenes. And there's so much stories. I mean, there's so much stories about Macho Man Randy Savage and Vince's relationship. The rumor that he slept with Stephanie, like crazy. That was the reason why Macho never came back. So much shit like that, right? The Hulk Hogan politics that he had with his matches. Him really having the biggest, I think, out of all the cats on the lineups, he was the biggest egotistic maniac I've ever heard about. Witness. Never liked Hulk Hogan, never liked him. I know why he's popular, great theme song, but never liked that son of a bitch. Like, I like the Hardy Boys more than I like Hulk Hogan, but I understand the history there. So there's a lot of shit, man. There's a lot of shit. There's a lot of shit that goes behind the scenes. Even The Rock had a couple stuff, going on. I'm pretty sure when Triple H was really married to Stephanie, shit was going on like that, especially with him, China, and at the time when I met China at the No Way Out, and I got my book, and I have my book signed by her. I actually should put it up right here. She was really nice. I think that was the first kind of big celebrity I've ever met, and she was really nice. And I was kind of lost for words, but she was really nice. You could tell she really appreciated her fans, and it's just wrestling, man. She went down, and that's why you gotta like what DDP's doing, because I think a lot of these people who die early just don't have that support as like that, Eddie Guerrero was a tragedy too, because his heart just gave out with all, he was trying to turn a leaf, but his heart just gave out, man. Let's see, I got Friday, Saturdays off. Shit. All right, we'll schedule something, man. I'll say Saturday. Yeah, we could do, Albert, if you're down, we could do like Friday nights at 10. We could do Friday nights at 10, man. Spot for you. We'll talk every Friday, not every Friday night, but most of whatever Friday night you want. We'll talk wrestling, man, because your knowledge is so great. And I'm getting back to wrestling. All right, I'm absolutely I'm going back. I'm learning so much shit from back in the day, the Attitude Era, WWF, but not only just going back and revisiting matches and pay-per-views, but learning about the backstory and all this stuff, the Undertaker Brock Lesnar thing. Like, I didn't know Undertaker was concussed, and then learning a little bit more of these new guys, and especially the CM Punk drama that went down, the Vince's relationship with a lot of these guys. If you listen, I'm listening to Stone Cold podcast, and that's great, man. That's a moneymaker, because he's bringing in a lot of these wrestlers, and they're telling stories. They're telling stories. I never liked Dude Love, but just funny hearing Mick Foley, how he actually created Cactus Jack, and why he did the Bang Bang. He was listening to a B2, was it B22's whatever song, Love Shack, and he eventually said that he was just gonna use the Cactus Jack character to get into Dude Love, but everybody associates more with the Cactus Jack and the Mankind and the Mick Foley. So there's so much stuff, so much gold there. But talking about the new stuff, I mean, I still haven't really invested in any of the newer, the AEW, the new superstars. I just really feel like after the Attitude Era ended, your superstars, your relatables, your go-to watch, some of these guys have great mic skills. Of course, their wrestling abilities are great, but they don't. What I don't see is I don't see that lightning in a bottle. I don't see that. Even I don't even think John Cena is really anywhere near any of the levels of a lot of the big name WWF superstars. And that's a problem, right? That's a big problem. Today's wrestling reminds me of heavyweight championship boxing. When is the last time we had a talkable, ferocious, latched on to kind of heavyweight boxer? Right? Mike Tyson was ferocious. Ali was charming, but they had the skill. They were considered the best at the time. People wanted to see these guys fight. With the superstars today, it's more like I love wrestling, so I'll watch it, and I do have my wrestlers, but are these wrestlers really that iconic and really that memorable? I can't really speak right now because I'm not, I haven't really fully invested in, got into these newer cats. I mean, I tried, but you could tell that Vince uses a lot of the nostalgia, and he brings a lot of these wrestlers for special appearances, especially, Stone Cold, The Rock. I don't think has been on a WWE program for a long ass time. I mean, rightfully so. He's so busy. But it's sad because I do think I really do think I should give it another go, but especially with I think this age is more athletic than the Attitude Era. I mean, don't get me wrong, you have the Hardys and all that stuff, but you have more wrestlers this time around that are just a little bit more athletic, in my opinion, a little bit more abilities to them. Stone Cold couldn't be athletic because he was back in the day until the Owen Hart incident. So he's not. He had to kind of change his brawling techniques. The Rock was athletic, but the dude's not doing like twists and turns when he's coming off the turnbuckle. Mankind was just such he had his ability, man. They all played with their strengths, right? You had Kane, Undertaker, big guys. But when it comes to today's era, I think you have more talented guys. It's just they're not able to sell. They're not able to give you a product. They're giving you Attitude Era is a Pepsi or a Coke, and then this era is more like a Diet Pepsi and a Diet Coke. It's good. I like it. It's healthier, sort of. Guess I don't think so. But it's not my Pepsi or Coke. It's not my Coke from McDonald's. It's the Coke that's expired from the vending machine. No disrespect. I know people are still watching this. I'm pretty sure my son is going to get into the new era of wrestling. But when it came to the Attitude Era, man, oh my God, it's the golden age, man. It's like watching Michael Jordan with the 97 Bulls, especially in the last hurrah, or 96, 92. For me, it was like Allen Iverson, right? Watching Allen Iverson play ball. Fucking amazing. And not only Allen Iverson, but Allen Iverson, and he's going against Kobe Bryant. That's like Stone Cold versus The Rock. Attitude Era was the shit. You got away with more. It was more in your face. It was not as respectful as back in the day wrestling, or even a little bit more today. But it knew what it was, and you'll hear Vince say it's entertainment, right? They're here to tell a story, in the ring. Wrestling, it's a story. Storylines, it's a story. Gimmicks, it's a story. Like they want to present a story to the audience, to make him go leaving like an impression. And I just think the Attitude Era had so many impressions. While here, it's just not leaving an impression to me, not as much as I want it to be. Right? Why are we still talking about old wrestlers when we should be talking about new wrestlers? And we do, but it seems like we don't talk enough about the new wrestlers than the old wrestlers. If you bring the Rock back, right now for just one fucking appearance, it didn't even have to be the biggest. It could just be on their Saturday night special. That's going to draw views. That's going to fucking make the fans go nuts, because for some reason, the new age cannot bring it, cannot be as good as the Attitude Era. And I'm for one want to see that. I want to see wrestlers come in here and have that fucking lightning in the bottle. I want to see another Stone Cold and Rock rivalry. And you have here and there in the new age, but it's just not the same. It's not the same. But we'll see. We'll see. Albert knows more than I do when it comes to the new age. But for me, Attitude Era, and Albert knows Attitude Era too. But fuck, man, Albert, I was in there, man. I was the guy who said wrestling not fake. And you laughed at, you know. I was that guy. I had so many wrestling figurines, it's not even funny. And the one thing I've always wanted, and I went on Amazon to look and see if they had my size. They didn't. There were a size that had extra large. I wear like a 3X. But it's kind of funny. I was looking at my old videos back in the day from YouTube. I was fat, gotten skinnier. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. But I looked, man. I looked on Amazon. I'm like, do they fucking have it? And it's the Stone Cold shirt where he has the rattlesnakes going out like that, and he's doing his famous pose. And I was like, I always wanted that as a kid, and I never got it. I never got that shit. My Nino's wife had it, and I was like, fucking what the hell? Why don't I have one? So I never got that. I think I did get the Stone Cold hat, but I never got the shirt. Hey, Hogan. It's crazy that the Undertaker... Here, I'll just bring the phone up here. It's crazy that the Undertaker still wrestled for 6 more years after that. Fucking wow, man. Dude, you access to my WWE network? Oh, dude, yes. Not right here though. Not on the comment sections. You just send it my way. I was actually thinking about the WWE network because the WWE network has all the matches, and I really want to watch the 2001 Royal Rumble with Stone Cold because I can't find anywhere on YouTube the big pop he has when he wins that Royal Rumble. And Stone Cold's won like 3 Royal Rumbles in his career. And then I would like to actually go back and see the King of the Ring he won. Also Triple H's King of the Ring he won. The Cactus Jack and Triple H 2000 match. Like I've seen all this, right? But I would love to go back and watch these events. That's why it's like, and then also watch some of the newer guys and see how they are. It's kind of crazy though, because I've seen a lot of wrestlers jump ship from WWE to this new AEW. So crazy shit. I think that's what we should talk about next is why all these wrestlers are jumping. Chris Jericho's gone. Big Show's gone. Why are these guys jumping ship? Does Shane McMahon own that property, or is it owned by somebody else? Because Vince owns everything, basically. Vince bought everything out. ECW, WCW, what was the other one? I think there was one more. They couldn't make it. CM Punk. I hear CM Punk is really good. And, I'm interested. Daniel Bryan is a very likable guy. So he gets a big pop, too, when he wins the championship. Fuck, I saw that one. You're definitely going to have to watch Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega is the Asian guy, right? Is that the Asian guy? He comes in with like the violins and stuff. AJ Styles a big name. I've heard a lot of them. A big rumored match is The Rock versus Yeah, I heard about that. The Rock versus Roman Reigns. I don't really like Roman Reigns. He really feels like a computer. I think you'd like AEW more. It's a little bit more Attitude Era-ish. It's real to me, damn it. um, Shit, I can't remember the other one. The other one was like a hardcore one too, and I think Rob Van Dam was in that one as well. I think Rob Van Dam now is in AEW. Yeah, was it AEW? It has nothing with WWE. It's owned by the owner of. No shit. That Jaguars owner is terrible too. Oh, that whole team is like just done. Um, but yeah, the oh man, shoot, my computer's about to die right now too. So yeah, Albert, I think you need to jump on. We'll schedule a Friday and we'll actually talk about why these wrestlers are leaving. You know, we'll talk about the difference between today's WWE and then this AEW. Do more of my homework on it. Definitely do more homework on it. Because I want to talk New Age, you know, and shit, man. If you have so much knowledge on this, and you're watching it right now, I'm an attitude guy. I'm a back in the day guy kind of guy. I grew up with it, but I'm not gonna sit here and say like I'm not gonna give it a chance. You know, I love my fucking vanilla bean ice cream, but if you have vanilla with a little bit of Twix in it, I'll give it a go. You know, so we're gonna end it. We talked a little bit Attitude Era. Way more videos are going to be on the way with wrestling. I'm back in it. I'm really, because it's something I like to talk about, and even if it doesn't get a shitload of views or anything like that, I really like talking about wrestling. At this point, I gotta thank wrestling bios. I'll have that link below. I'll go. I don't think I put the link in. I forgot, but I'll put links every time I do a podcast, because wrestling bios, fantastic channel, man. The guy's better than a lot of these documentaries that are out there, and I learned a lot, and it really just ignited my passion. And you could tell he's a big wrestling fan, and I used to be. But I think I'm kind of a little bit back in the bandwagon, and I think I want to be because my son is probably gonna like wrestling. So I gotta, you know me, I gotta have my hand in everything. I gotta know what's going on around the world. That's why my channel is just everything, because I'm into everything. Shit, I haven't done the Biggie documentary review yet. I just watched that. Falcon and Winter Soldier's coming. Mayans MC's coming. The new Boruto chapter's coming. So I'm coming. Like, I just found my love for Tenchi Muyo again. Just found out kind of because that thing's a long run. I'm trying to get an interview from one of the voice actresses. So that's might be coming. So I mean, holy shit, man! There's a lot of things coming, and I'm just having fun, man. I'm just having fun, and I'm thanking everybody who's subscribed. Subscriptions are going up. Views are going up. It's been a good couple months, so I'm really glad that we could be doing it. But we're definitely gonna talk wrestling. I think I really just enjoy talking wrestling, and if I get Albert on here, fuck, I'm gonna really enjoy it. I would love to have Albert as a partner on this one, because just me sitting here and drinking some mango juice. It's not it'd be better. It would help me more than reading his comments. Having to constantly get the phone. He'd be right here, be like, "Hey, dude, tell me about this guy. How good is he?" And maybe I'll go back to UFC. I used to have a love for UFC, but now it's just like kind of fell off. I think I'd rather get into the wrestling game, because there's so many elements to it. There's so much story. There's so much drama, and it's a thing that's never going to go away till the end of time. Attitude Era wasn't the first thing it was the thing that skyrocketed back, but that wasn't the first thing, that really made wrestling what it was. I mean, you got to think the Andre the Giant kind of things, the Ultimate Warrior, Jimmy Snuka, Jimmy, I can't say it. You got to think about those guys, man. You got to think about those guys who really fucking carried that shit too. So this is not, there's always hype throughout the decades. So once again, I think we might be spiking up again pretty soon, especially with all this COVID that's going to end. A lot of people are going to want to go back to, I think the wrestling thing is going to be pretty big, because now you're going to have, once COVID ends, you're going to have so many packed houses, because people want to go watch. They want to see it live too. Seeing it live is just a game changer. So Albert, when he said WrestleMania, I was like, fuck, I can only imagine that. So I want to thank you guys for listening. Like the video once it if it gets uploaded quick, because it helps me out. Subscribe to this channel. Comment once it gets uploaded. I want to hear your guys' thoughts on what you think about the stream. It was a test / podcast. Now that I know this thing is working, super happy, very happy. I'll be using this format for some of my videos, but you'll still get different kind of formats and stuff. Traditional reviews. I'm actually working two projects I'm going to be working on. I'm working on if you watch The Walking Dead, I'm doing Andrea's 10 facts video. Might go 20 or 25 depending on what I can do. I think I'm going to do maybe 15. So Andrea from The Walking Dead comics, top whatever facts. Then after that, I'm going to figure out how to. The Mayans are coming up, so we're going to do Mayan MC. And not only that, I want to do like this, a live reaction of we'll go Tenchi Universe, episode 2 to like episode 4. They don't got, well, I'll try to find the first episode. We'll do the first episode, but somebody has the second episode all the way to the ending. And then when it comes to wrestling, so we'll try to get Albert on here. We'll talk about the guys, why a lot of these names are leaving. We'll talk about the business of things today, of today's standards of wrestling. Who's the guys who are rising up? Who are the stars right now? We'll talk a little bit of past wrestlers. I really want to jump into these new wrestlers and really and see where some of these wrestlers too that are like kind of like part timers, under contract. They're here to show so many events. Like Brock Lesnar has a contract. If that's true that The Rock is going to fight Roman Reigns, I would like to discuss that. So what's the possibility on that? I mean, The Rock is bigger now, more than ever, physically. So I'm interested in all that. So let's see what Albert said real quick. We're going to go WrestleMania in Los Angeles 2023, man. I would love to go to WrestleMania event, even if I don't really have like this crazy wrestler I'm rooting for. It would just be great to go there. The tickets must be insane, though. December 2010, with all the around me, I stayed with it. I've always better when these watch or talk about it. It'd be great for you if your kids get into it too. But yeah, man, like the live vid, keep them coming. Yeah, they're gonna be coming. So now that I know that doesn't really send you a notification on the I think it's because I'm using a different software. I'm using OBS, so when I push the live button, it's live on OBS and it's just streaming it. It's going to the YouTube, but also push the bell notification, of course, that will notify you for my videos. So, and then I'll have a schedule. So if I'm doing, let's say we do next Friday, you and me, Albert, we pick a time, 10 o'clock, let's just say that. I'll actually have all that shit ready, get it going, set it all up for Monday, and then when Friday hits, I'll just be able to jump on there and we'll get it started and we'll get it going, rock and rolling, man. Thank you guys. I'm headed to bed. Got a lot of things going pretty soon, so thank you guys. I'm then making it soon. I'm out of here. All right, let's start this streaming. Boom.